We don't flip baseball bats. We don't flip tennis rackets. And we certainly don't flip axes. That would not be good. So why is it that we flip golf clubs? There's a big difference between flipping and naturally releasing through. You really don't want to miss this show. So in baseball, we don't flip because we're getting ready to hit a ball into the field, and we're waiting on that pitch. We're not going to wait for the pitch to come all the way back here and then flip at it. We're going to meet that pitch right out here. And then after that baseball bat comes through, there's a natural release of that anatomy. You'll watch it through, all the top baseball players. If they don't release this way, they're going to let go of the bat so they don't injure themselves. May injure the catcher behind them, though. That's not a good thing. So, same thing with an axe. If I'm a lumberjack and this is my tree, I'm going to set up behind the tree. I'm not going to set up the tree behind me and then have to go flip at it. I'm going to set up the tree in a position that allows me to get through it. Now notice the axe, as I come through, the axe continues. That's a heavy piece of equipment there. So my self-preserving instincts are going to allow the axe to release my anatomy. This is exactly the spirit in the golf swing. So let's have a look now at why you're flipping. So let's take a page out of the lumberjack's book. I'm going to set up here for this golf ball, and I want to squeeze that golf ball through this tree. Notice I didn't move away from it. Notice I didn't move ahead of it. So here's what happens. I am staying with the tree. Notice my hands get through first, then the club comes from the inside. We have this fabulous series coming out on our premium channel called the Dual Pendulum Series. And this is going to enlighten all of you as far as path and how the club shallows itself, all that good stuff, right? So when I have the ball here, I'm not going to shift in front of the tree and then have to reach back. As I have to reach back, there's the flip. So that's one of the items. If the ball is the target, then you've heard about, hey, why are my arms outracing my body? Well, if the ball's my target, my body stops at the ball, and then what happens is that the trail arm collapses into the body, and then, whoa, there we have that chicken wing, and we're going to get some collapsed wrists in the process. So when we make the ball a precise intersection on the way to the target, something magic happens. So first, I want to show you how that release should feel. So you're going to take the club like a sword right at the base of the shaft here. You're going to pretend you got a little bamboo shoot in front of you. You're going to give it a little slash. And then not many of my students really fail that. They'll have a tendency to do this at first, some of them. So when you come through, you want to have the ability to go back and do it in the opposite direction. So if I'm a guide in the jungle, slash, slash, slash. Notice how the weight of the sword is releasing my anatomy. Very much the same way, if I had a serve here, I was cutting a bamboo shoot above my head, slash. Notice that pronated release that you get in tennis serves. That's the same exact release as in golf. We're just doing it underhanded here on the way through. Very much like you're skipping a stone on water. So after I release the stone, there's going to be a release of that anatomy. When I'm throwing a football, you'll see the football quarterback's arm pronate after that throw. We don't throw footballs like this. There's a natural release to that football. So when I release through and rehinge on the other side. Now I can release back and rehinge on the trail side. So that's your first key here, is really feeling that trail arm load and hinge, release and rehinge, release and load and hinge, release and rehinge. Then you take lead hand. In order for the lead hand to yield, because that trail hand is going to release through, we have an amazing video on our premium channel called Important Release Update. So if I take my lead hand and I put it on top of my trail hand, you're going to feel it instantly here. So we're going to be going through the bamboo again. As my right arm extends and rotates down and pronates, my trail arm has to fold out of the way, yield, and supinate. So, see how that lead arm has got to fold out of the way and yield? Otherwise, it falls off the club, or it prevents the trail hand from releasing over. So you can't guide a ball to the target with a lot of accuracy, or even worse, much less power, right? So now I take my normal grip. So obviously a good golf grip is something that you're going to need for a good golf release. So you can go check out my videos on that after. Go see most important video on grip ever and best video on grip ever. And you'll see some really good stuff on that grip and how the anatomy shapes itself around this extra bone that you're going to connect to the bones of your body. So I'm going to release my shot in the direction of my target. So for those of you who are thinking, man, I gotta make sure I shift my weight. So you get to the top of the swing and you're trying to shift your weight. You don't realize that you just threw yourself way out in front of the ball. Now the ball's like somebody took your ball position in the middle of your backswing and whipped it back in your stance out of the hit zone. So then your brain goes, wait a second, we're going to miss the ball. You got to hurry up and hit the ball before you miss it. That's when you feel that you're getting really antsy and you'll tend to hit down with that trail hand. You get quick in the swing and you're wondering, why am I using so much effort? Why am I getting so quick? Well, it's because the ball moved. So what you need to do is you need to stay with your target. I have an intermediate point right here in front of the ball. I'm going to swing this club back and through above the ball. I'm going to let the club release me. See how my right arm folds? My left hand releases over the right, and then my right arm releases over the left as my left arm folds out of the way. Release, 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 release. Notice how the release occurs at 8 o'clock on the way through and at 4 o'clock on the way back, if 6 o'clock is the bottom of your clock. So I am letting the weight of the club release me. So if I do that towards you, notice how my lead arm is releasing frictionlessly out of the way. And in the backswing, the trail arm is folding frictionlessly out of the way. So there's a release and hinge, and then there's another release and hinge on the way through. So I have a ball that I want to go that way. Well, my brain says, in order for the ball to go that way, I can't do it from here. Yep, I can do it from here. Nah, I'm going to scrape, I'm going to lift, I'm going to top the ball. Yeah, I can do it from here. I can still do it from here. And I can still do it from here. So I got this beautiful release now. You'll see that in slow motion. And you'll notice how the hands came through first. Then the club is catching the ball here, compressing against it. The ball comes off the face here. And then there's this beautiful anatomical, self-preserving release that occurs here. And I'm letting that release into the direction that I want that ball to go. Okay? So let's have a look from down the line. I'm going right edge of that for my little draw. Let it release. See how sweet that is? And that was just like the smoothest, most relaxed 7-iron. So peak height on that was 100 feet up. I'm only 28 feet offline. My carry was 170 yards on that. And so I started at 5 degrees to the right, and I've got a nice little 400 side spin back to the left, and I'm landing just a little right of my target. So while I'm over the ball, I'm allowing the weight of the club to release me in the direction that I want to start the ball. So when that happens, my head stays back, because if my head were to move forward, I can't go to the right edge of the intermediate point anymore. That's it, it's over. Now I'm coming across and everything's gonna have a tendency to collapse into me. And if I don't have a target at all, then I'm gonna default to the ball. I'm actually going to release the club too soon. So in this dual pendulum swing that we're gonna have on our premium channel, the first pendulum point is right here between the two clavicles. If I only had one arm and I was cutting grass with one arm, notice how that's moving around this center, and it's going to cut grass around underneath that center. Bring both hands to take the grip. Everything is revolving around my main pendulum point right here, which is my sternal notch, which reunites my two shoulders. Second pendulum is my wrists. Notice how the trail arm folds, extends, and then the lead arm folds. And we have this beautiful rotational pendulum. Notice how my hands are just staying between my feet, and I've got this beautiful pendulum. So pendulum number 1 takes me into my backswing, fold and hinge. Now pendulum number 2 is activated right here. Now, do I unload 2 and then 1? Don't think so. Ball will be completely whiffed. So, 1, 2. So that what happens, 1, now everything has to come back from the inside, doesn't it? So when I'm going through to the target, I'm unloading my dual pendulum system out there in the direction that I want to start the ball. You'll never see a Tour Pro release at the ball and flip, because the target's out there. That can't be the target. So get cracking with the feel of it. Get delivering towards the target. Get with our premium channel. We're going to show you how all of this works so that you can really stop flipping and start releasing. All the best.